Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast. My name is Julie.
And I'm JT.
And this week we have on
Lori, the owner of the Hidden Daisy Floral. She has a flower business. She does a lot of weddings. That's a big part of her business. And we were colleagues in a former life. So this was an exciting podcast for me to do.
Yeah, we got a lot of good information about how she started her business and what it's like running a flower business. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you get notifications every time we post each week, and leave us a review on Spotify. It really helps us out a lot. We hope you guys enjoy the episode, and we'll see you guys next week.
I had to go to the dentist, so I did that. I texted my husband. I was like, there's still no power, and I haven't had coffee. So that was my first stop on the way home. Coffee. I need it. It's nectar of life for me.
Seriously, it's like the only thing that gets me out of bed.
Yeah.
Like if I'm laying in bed for like over 30 minutes, he'll come in and be like, do you want me to make you a cup of coffee? I'm like, all right.
I'm just resting my eyes. I know I just woke up, but they're still tired.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so welcome to our house and podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background, kind of, what you did growing up and any schooling and career in a prior life, stuff like that?
Well, I guess I could start with I dropped out of college. So when I dropped out of college, I knew my parents were going to not be very pleased with me. On my way home, I saw a help wanted sign in a flower shop window for a delivery driver. So I went in there and got the job right away. You know, all you needed was a clean record and are you not crazy? So hired right then and there, went home, told my parents I dropped out of college, but I got a job. And, what job did you get? They were obviously very mad, but what job did you get? I thought I'm going to be a delivery driver for a flower shop. Also not thrilled. However, 2 months after delivery driving, I was brought inside and started designing more and more. And a year and a half later, I bought out my boss at 19. So then my parents were a little less angry.
Yeah.
And a little thrilled, but scared for me.
Yeah.
And I did that for 10 years. Then I wanted to have children, so I became a vet tech with a more structured schedule and raised my kids and came back to flowers as soon as they were old enough to be left alone.
Yeah, that's awesome. And did you kind of, did you always have that entrepreneurial spirit in you, or did you kind of develop that because you saw an opportunity at the flower shop?
No, me and my girlfriend had Flutterby Incorporated when we were 16.
Okay.
And we made hemp jewelry and sold it at concerts.
Nice.
Usually making enough money to pay our way to the concert. So I guess you could say we always were entrepreneurial.
That's really cool. Yeah. I always love to hear when people have like little origin stories, because everyone's different. Like some people find it later in life and some other people kind of, they have these like stories when they're younger, selling candy on the bus and bracelets, like you're saying. So that's
My friend Mark sold candy at school every day, and he made a bunch of money in first grade selling Twizzlers for a nickel. I mean,
yeah. I always wonder how the kids from high school are doing that were selling candy in the hallways. I feel like they're always onto something.
Yeah. I feel like even just that, because there's a lot of kids that like don't really like ever think outside the box as far as like, ooh, maybe I can start selling something. Like I feel like I had that very young and I never realized that maybe that would lead me somewhere. Like I always just thought like, oh, like this is just like a creative outlet for me kind of thing. And then, you have like kind of similar story, but like I told my parents that I wanted to go to school for like videography and like editing, and they were like, like you have to get like a real job, like we're not going to pay for you to go to college like for that, like you need to do something, lawyer, doctor, like that kind of thing. And I was like, okay. So I went to school for something medical, and then found my way back to like my creative side. And I'm just like, man, I wish I had like a little bit more, like I believed in myself a little bit more early on, because maybe I could have saved like 7 years of schooling and a lot of money and loans and stuff. But I'm like, you know what? It all happened how it was supposed to happen.
It never hurts to have a backup plan.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I have a
Something else.
degree. I could always go back if I need to. So it is definitely a good way to go about it. But I think there's a lot you can do, especially now with the internet and stuff. Like I was exposed to a lot as a kid. I feel like a lot of kids are. And there's just like so much out there that you can do to start making money like so young. It's crazy.
So,
Yeah.
so much more now.
Yeah.
I remember the day Facebook started and I was in my store, and you guys had that from the beginning. So it's good and it's bad. It gives you a lot more options and visibility. You just have to know where to focus that energy. That's what I tell my kids, don't just sit and scroll. You can be learning something even on social media. There's knowledge there if you look in the right place.
Yeah. It's so true. What was that like buying out your boss at 19? That has to be like so scary. And like, how do you even do that at that age? Like, were you just saving up money? Like, what was that structure like?
He just came to me one day and said, I think I'm done. And he had 2 stores. So he sold mine to me and he kept the other one going for another 10 years or so.
Wow.
And I didn't want to look for another job. I knew this one, I was good at it. So I started the process and I went to the bank, and I was only 19. My parents had drilled how important good credit is into me. So I did have that at even a young age. The SBA told me I needed a really good business plan and 10 grand to start. So 10 grand wasn't too hard to come up with.
Yeah.
And I took out the SBA loan to buy out my boss, which is the Small Business Administration, just so everybody knows.
Wow. That's
But it was
incredible.
scary. And then my brother gave me a bottle of wine to smash on the building, and it would not smash. And I'm hitting this thing, and I was like, this may not be a good omen, but here we are. But it ended up being fine.
Is that supposed to be like a good luck thing, like smashing the bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like a boat thing more than a business,
okay.
but it was the thought. My brother showed up. It was good. It was cool.
That's cool.
What was it like in the flower business at that time? Were you mostly just designing bouquets to sell, or were you doing events at that time?
I was doing events, but I eventually, it's funny because now I focus on events, and then I started to move away from events because I got so busy on the retail end. So we had a fleet of vans. I had 10 full-time employees, and we just grinded most of the time. Holidays were insane. Mother's Day was the big one. It still is. It carried us through the summer, where we did some weddings, but didn't want to be exhausted all the time.
Yeah. So is it more seasonal, do you feel like, or do you feel like it's kind of an all year thing?
It's an all year thing.
Okay.
There's always funerals and births, and there's always something that flowers are good for.
Yeah.
Aside from events.
Yeah.
Birthdays. And so it was definitely all year, but you have your big days.
Yeah.
December for the holidays is just a big month in general. And then you have Valentine's Day, of course, which I don't know any florists that really love Valentine's Day or celebrate it for themselves. That's definitely not something most of us do. You're too tired and your hands are banged up and you just want to nap. Mother's Day I enjoy a little bit more. I don't know why, if it's just the flowers that are around or I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't really love red so much. Valentine's Day isn't it for me, but so your key holidays, Easter isn't so big anymore. It was when I had my store. I used to sell thousands of bulb plants.
Really?
So I did a lot of plants too. And I sold Christmas trees, which was another thing not all florists do.
Okay.
But it was great and I loved it. I loved seeing all the little kids come and, have cocoa and see Santa and pick out a Christmas tree. There's a little bit of magic there.
Really cool. Were you growing them, or did you do like
No,
wholesale?
I brought them in from Canada.
Okay,
They came in
wow.
from Nova Scotia.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I loved it. I did.
Yeah.
And I had a little game I played with myself where when the tractor trailer arrived at, 4 or 5 in the morning, the day after Thanksgiving, and we're counting the trees, I would pick my Christmas tree while it was still all baled up. And whatever I picked, I stuck with, even if it was an ugly tree. So that was my game though. So let's see how good of a tree I can pick while it's baled.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Because they all pretty much look the same.
When they're baled, yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
I find it funny with 9 to 5s. It's a lot of people don't like them, obviously, because you have to report back to someone. But you get all major holidays off. You get to stop working and go home and relax. Most of the time, some jobs no. And then, on the flip side with, working for yourself, you're your own boss, which is great. But you end up working 10 times more, basically like 24/7. And then all major holidays usually are the busiest times. Yes. So you end up working through all of those. So it's kind of like it's just like so interesting how like one, kind of sounds like always better. Like, oh, you own a business. Like, oh, that's so cool. And it's like glamorized in a way. Uh-huh. But then like you're kind of like serving, the public, all those major holidays, and you really don't ever get to enjoy them.
This is true. This is 100% true.
Yeah.
When I was younger and had my store in Edison, on Thanksgiving, it was very common. There are a lot of pictures of me passed out on the floor because I would just walk in the door and my whole family would be there getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner, waiting for me. And I would just kind of walk in the door and lay down. And the dog would come over and there was an impromptu nap many years because I was just toast. So yeah, owning your own business has its perks as long as you set the right boundaries, which is hard to do. I definitely answer emails at midnight sometimes if I'm awake, or 4 a.m. Brides are very busy all of the time. Mm-hmm. So it's not unusual to get a 2 a.m. message and, 4 a.m. you're up. So why not respond? Yeah. It's about having the boundaries though, which I think is always a work in progress for all small business owners.
Yeah. What was like that, like going from owning your own business to then working as a vet tech? Like, did you always know that you wanted to go back to like working with flowers and being in that space?
I don't know. I always did flowers on the side for really good customers, family. There was always a little bit of flowers in there. That never fully stopped. Okay. It was really nice having holidays off and sick days. I had sick days paid. They paid me to be sick. It was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's those little things where other people say, and I'm like, yeah, it's nice. But then I'm like, my boss, she isn't really nice sometimes. And she's making me go to work on Christmas Eve. So that's my joke. My boss isn't very nice to me. But it was hard at first to transition to take orders because you have an ego.
Yeah.
If you're an owner, you do it all. You do paperwork, taxes, you do it all. So you have to get your ego in check a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not the boss anymore. You still have that mentality though, where you're watching how something's being spent or, this person's not doing anything, and you have to keep yourself in check.
Yeah.
But once I guess I matured a little bit more and accepted that, then it was great. Then I could look at the perks of I stayed a little late tonight, but I get to go home and not worry about anything else. Yeah. There aren't emails to answer. I clock out and I'm done.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
It
As
is
you
nice.
know, it is nice.
Yeah, definitely. I always go back and forth because I think in some aspects it is like very nice and comfortable, and it's hard to leave a job that, pays you well. But then I think there's a sense of like fulfillment when you work for yourself that like you can't really always get when you're working for like a company. That I think in the long term, like when I look back on my life, I want to make sure that I was like fulfilled the whole time, and I was like doing like, pursuing my passion.
And when you win, when you have a big win, you have a win for you. and the people that are working with you. You're like, we won today. Like,
Yeah.
this was a win. Look what we did.
Yeah.
When you're winning for somebody else, it can still be fulfilling, but you're winning.
Yeah.
Somebody else had that win that day.
Yeah.
And as long as you respect them, I think that helps a lot. If you
Yeah.
respect the person you're working for and what their mission is, then I have found it easy to work just as hard for them as I would for myself if that
So
respect is
true.
there.
Yeah.
If I don't think you're a great person, in all honesty, I'm probably not going to put in that 110.
Yeah.
You'll get 100 because
Yeah.
it's just who I am. But that extra mile, I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that respect is lacking.
Yeah. So true.
Can you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day right now? Kind of.
Emails are usually the first order of business, answering that and inquiries for dates because, brides have urgency. So we try to get to them right away in their questions.
Okay.
We cut flowers, process everything, make sure our daily orders are done and delivered. Meetings with brides happen every day. Some evenings I try not to do that, but because people have schedules and they work and they have lives, I am flexible that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of meetings, drawing up proposals, paperwork. Taxes have kept me busy in
Yeah.
January, so getting all the numbers submitted. Get deliveries out. It's mostly meetings and proposals until wedding season.
Okay.
And then we're Mondays processing, Tuesdays processing, and we start designing on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Did the brides come to you and say, like, I want this color scheme, I want these flowers, or do you kind of bring that inspiration to them?
Depends on the bride.
Okay.
Some brides know exactly what they want.
Okay.
I just talked to one recently and she knew 100% what she wanted. This is what I want. You can do it. Done. It was very easy because she knew what she wanted.
Okay.
Another bride came to me and said, I have no idea what I want. I need you to tell me. They're fun. They're interesting too, because I don't know you. So then it's my goal to try to get to know you a little bit and show you what it is I think will work for you.
Do you kind of go like based off of the venue or like the colors that they already kind of have picked out
It's
for like other
usually
things?
more colors for me
Okay.
to tell the color story. Everything looks really good photographically.
Okay.
It's at the end of the day, that's what you have is your day encapsulated in photos. So I want them to be perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, bridesmaids colors are a big factor. Venue definitely comes into play. You
Okay.
don't want to do something really rustic in a ballroom
Yeah.
necessarily. So you need, and if they tell you that they want that, you need to find the marriage,
Okay.
Right.
the balance. So, but every bride is so different. So it really evolves along the way as I get to know them.
Yeah. And then also like what goes into like, I guess all the different, because I mean, I have a hard time picturing like where do flowers come into play in all the aspects of a wedding? Obviously like the bouquets that, the bride is holding and the bridesmaids, and then the table settings, like where else can you kind of take that creativity throughout the day?
Entryways,
Okay.
doorways,
Very nice.
ceremony space. You said bouquets, personal items for guys. They're getting
Okay.
a little bit more attention these days where we're doing some more fun things. It's not just your traditional boutonniere.
Okay.
We're doing pocket botanicals and lapel pieces. And, people are getting a little bit more creative with their florals, which is exciting. I'll put flowers on anything. A car, if you like, we're going to flower my truck at some point soon because I just think it's going to be fun. So yeah, I love a challenge. There's a venue that has an upside down rowboat and that's really fun to flower. Staircases and, if wherever the bride's going to come in
Yeah.
can be a focal point. So
Okay. How is like the trends of flowers like changed over time? Like, is there trends with flowers?
sure. And they always come back.
Really?
So I've been doing it long enough where I've seen things come back, like baby's breath. Baby's breath is a thing right now.
Really?
The last couple of years, yeah. And it was when I started. So it is interesting to see the evolution, and then, it just,
Yeah.
so there's, a little bit more of a garden style right now,
Okay.
which I love. I've never been like that compressed, tight floral chick. I'll do it if you want me to, but it's not where I live. So colors change for sure. This year, I'm seeing a lot of light blue inquiries, lots of sage green, peaches. Peach is the Pantone color of the year. So, which I love. I love peach. I like it better than light pink. So, yeah, there's color trends for sure, and style trends. I feel like everybody wants a wow piece.
And then do you grow the flowers yourself or do you source them? Like, what's that process like?
I source them.
Okay.
Some from overseas, local growers in season. I really try to support them as much as I can. And I think the quality is typically just better. It's not shipping. I'm going to your farm or you're bringing it to me.
Yeah.
It was cut that morning and I have this perfect bloom that has never seen a box. So I do really try to support my local growers in season. We forage greenery sometimes. Yeah. In the winter, it's wholesalers. There's very few growers that have the facility to produce in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I do have a pretty solid garden. So in season, when things are blooming, every bride does tend to get something from my personal garden in their wedding.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's really cool.
Can you tell us a little bit about the balance between owning your own business and being a mother, like how you have navigated that over the years?
Um, I run around like a crazy person most of the time. I'm trying to shuttle kids to lacrosse and pick up friends, and we're dropping off at parties. And so that's all, again, that's where I'm lucky to be the owner. So I can cut out and say, I got to go pick up my kid. I'll be right back. On event days, I do miss lacrosse games on Saturdays quite often, but I try to make it to anything I can. Even practices, I'll hang out if I can get there. So, yeah, my kids are first, always. So I do try to focus on them and work my life around them as much as I can. But I'm also, the days that I'm not there, I look at it as I'm teaching them what hard work looks like and why. And this is why I do things. And that very expensive sweatshirt that you asked for, well, in order to get it, I have to go do this. Yeah. So I hope that it's a lesson in work ethic when I can't be there.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool for them to grow up and see like you owning a business, because I feel like it's kind of rare, at least for me. My parents both had very, average jobs. I mean, kind of same with you. I mean, your dad kind of owns a business in a way. Or not kind of, he does.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's nice that they'll have like some sort of like entrepreneurial like spark in them.
If they want it,
Yeah.
support them.
Yeah.
I kind of hope they don't.
Yeah.
I can't help but kind of hope they don't. I would love them to love a job as long as they love it.
Yeah.
But I would love them to love a job that has a structured schedule and holidays off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's necessarily rare, but I think also with jobs, it's kind of like when you're an entrepreneur, you're choosing what you want to do. So you can, whatever you're interested in at the time, you could pursue it. But as far as like a job, sometimes it takes a while to find the perfect job, because with a job that you like, it could be the people that you're working with. It also could be like the subject matter of what you're doing. And to find like a combination of both of that sometimes takes a little bit of time, especially out of college. Like I think a lot of kids have an expectation like,
Yes.
oh, I'm
Pressure.
not in my perfect job. It's like, yeah, because you're 22, it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of get to where you want to be.
You might hate what it is that you went to school for once you get into it and you're doing it every day. It may not fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I think, I mean, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I had a job at an Irish travel agency one summer doing like data entry, and there was a lot of Irish people there. And the reason they were people my age, and they were there because they structure their college in a way that allows you to work before you graduate. So they do, I think, 2 years of schooling. The third year is a gap year. Everyone takes a gap year. So you could do whatever you want with it. If you want to sit at home and do nothing, you can do that too. But a lot of people take the opportunity to do an internship and actually get out in the real world before they graduate. And I feel like that's something we could benefit from, because I think a lot of people, they go really deep into debt and they either get a degree that's useless or a degree that, sometimes doesn't fit their interests. I mean, certainly people find things that they want to do, but I think, there is a lot of times people spend a lot of time and money getting a degree that they don't really want. They don't realize they don't want.
I agree. And they don't know. If you haven't worked in the field, how do you know what to expect from it?
Right. Yeah. It's so cliche, but everyone says it. Like, they talk about their own, work experience, and they're always like, well, it's so much different once you're actually at the job. Like, everything I learned in textbook was pretty much not,
The book doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
The book doesn't matter. As a vet tech, the book didn't matter. It was completely, you need that knowledge. You need to know how to handle these situations, but you also have to be able to deal with people and give them bad news or give them great news. And that's a whole new element that can't be taught.
Yeah.
Same thing with the medical field, right? I mean, you can't be taught bedside manner. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
And how would you know if you didn't do it or had to?
Yeah. It is a tough thing to learn. And I think with the medical field, I realized that I liked helping people, but I didn't necessarily want to be like, be like so in such like a sad setting, because it was emotionally taxing, and being like an empath, I kind of like absorb those emotions. And then, I mean, that's what makes me like a good component in the medical field. But for my own mental health, I was like, okay, like, I don't know if in long term, like, this is going to work. And I think it's nice that now I still get to not like help people in the same way, but be around people and make an impact on their life. Because I think that's at its core, like, what makes a job like so fulfilling is when you're doing good for others, you're servicing others. And that's what I liked about the medical field, but there was a lot of things that like kind of took away from that, which I try, and I hope I can continue to do that with what I'm doing now. But kind of similar with you, like, you're around like so much happiness, and usually like flowers are associated with like good and happy and celebration and stuff. So it's nice to be able to like create those moments for people, and
it really is.
See the end result, like the start to finish is always so nice and really rewarding.
I agree. That's the fun part, when you step back and you say, look what we did today. Wow, we did this. Look at this space completely transformed.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy. You're right. When everybody's happy, it makes you happy.
Yeah.
Which, where in the medical field, it's not all happy all the time. So and it's hard. I went home crying many a night as a vet tech, just because I was emotionally taxed.
Yeah.
And had to keep it together there. And now I got to the car and was incredibly just engulfed in sadness, and it wasn't sustainable, nor how I wanted to feel all the time. And there was great days too, don't get me wrong, but what I'm doing now every day is generally a happy day.
That's so great. And I guess on the flip side of that, what has been like some of the biggest challenges that you've had? And also kind of talk about like how you hire people. I'm not sure if you have like how many employees you have, but like, what do you kind of look for in an employee? And
it's funny you say that, because we've been interviewing the last 2 weeks, and I really don't like interviews. I don't like putting people on the spot. And you can have somebody who interviews amazingly, but then when it comes down to the job, they aren't what you need. Whereas you could have somebody who's really nervous and awkward and doesn't interview well, but then when you need them to show up, they do. So interviews, I don't like. Yes, I can get a feel for you and use my intuition, but that's really what I'm running on. Because you never know until we're there and we're working. We have a team of about 12 freelancers that are pretty consistent people in my life. I have one full-time employee right now that I adore, and he's fantastic. And yeah, one of my daughters has been doing breakdowns late at night when we go back. And I told her, I was like, you can come and help during the day. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to come at the end of the night, which I think is so weird. But I'm completely supportive of her decision to come and help me at midnight and take everything down.
Oh,
So, but yeah, I just, I want everybody to have a good time. That's my main goal.
Yeah.
If we can all do something that we love and make pretty things, then our job is well done if everybody had a good time and
Yeah.
enjoyed their day, which is my goal. I try not to drive anybody too hard. We've definitely had days, and I am appreciative when they do that for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't love interviewing people.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
It's a tough process.
It is
yeah.
a tough process. And, asking some questions that really need to be answered by what you're doing when you're actually working. So, but yeah, we have a few new freelancers that are joining the team this year that I'm excited about. And yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Very cool.
Do you want to tell us how you came up with the name for your business?
I dreamt it.
You dreamt it.
So yeah, I couldn't really tell you what the dream was about, but I woke up and I was like, the hidden daisy. So I've always hidden a daisy. It's my favorite flower. They are simple and happy. And I've always hidden one in my bridal bouquets. When I had my store, I still do it. Every bridal bouquet gets a daisy hidden in the center. So somehow my dream gave me that name.
Nice.
And
That's cool.
I filed the paperwork that morning. I woke up and I was like, why didn't you think of that? And I was like, oh, but you did when you were sleeping. So yeah, I filed the paperwork that day.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
What goes into like designing a bouquet? Because I don't know why when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's easy. You just, put some flowers together. But I'm sure it's like way more complicated than that. And like, how do you kind
can
of
be.
choose?
It depends on the style the bride wants.
Okay.
Does she want something oblong, free form? Do I want it to look like I just plucked it from the garden? Do we want a more refined shape? So a lot of it is the style, which would hopefully complement the style of her dress and her whole wedding.
Okay.
I use the bridal bouquet as pretty much my foundation for everything else. So whatever colors and style we're going for there,
Okay.
I want that to carry through and be consistent through the whole event.
Okay.
So sometimes we can just kind of put it together if it's wildflowery. It does take a lot in processing and making sure all of the flowers are perfect for the bridal bouquet. I know some florists that take 3 hours to make a bridal bouquet, and they stare at it until it's perfect. I find that when I do that, I don't like it. So I just kind of roll with it and put it together and move as I need. But yeah, I think we all have a different way of designing a bridal bouquet.
Do you get like inspiration from anywhere that like you like to like kind of pull from, or do you kind of just go kind of free
I
form?
usually, the bride is my inspiration.
Okay.
Since we do focus mostly on weddings, I do get to know my couples. They aren't just numbers. I know their names. Even I could pull up my phone right now and I can tell you, I can scroll back 2 years and I can tell you the bride and groom's names for each event I've done. I call it my superpower as I remember you. And that's, it's them. I want it to feel like them. When, I don't want to hand you a bouquet and, Jonathan looks at you and says, that's not really you, Julie. I want to hand you a bouquet and everybody says, that's so you. It suits you. So yeah, I'm going to say my couples are the inspiration.
Do the venues ever play into it at all? Like the style of the venue?
Oh, sure. The style of the venue definitely comes into play. We want to, I say I'm the icing. That's the cake. I'm putting the icing on.
Like
so
that.
the cake is your substance, but I need to make it look pretty.
Yeah. Very cool.
Is there any like sort of theme or venue type or like style that like you're really liking, or you've always like really thought was like very classic, or that you just personally like?
I like clean lines. I like lots of windows, lots of natural light.
Okay.
Yeah, I like clean and put together.
Is there one that comes to mind?
Oh, I love the Ryland Inn.
Yeah, that place is cool.
I love
What
the
is it?
Ryland Inn.
Yeah, the Ryland Inn.
Rylandon.
I love
Okay.
them there. They're all so nice.
Yeah.
And there's two venues. So one has a little bit more of a rustic charm, and the other one is the ballroom, which is just elegant and lovely. So yeah, I love decorating that place.
Nice. Yeah, you were mentioning the boat earlier. I was thinking
The boat
that's Spatella,
Spatello.
right? Yeah. That place is
They're
cool
also
too.
awesome. I love them there also.
Yeah.
And that's a fun one.
I think they do dinner there.
They
You should
do.
check that place
You
out.
should eat there. The food's fantastic.
Where is that?
Yeah, it's in Jersey City.
Okay.
So there's a lot of these, like, I'm sure you've done like a bunch of them there too. There's like all these like restaurants and hotels that are on the like
Yeah.
water by Jersey City, and a lot of people do weddings there. Yeah. It's really pretty because you
It's
get the
really pretty.
cityscape. Yeah.
You hit the cityscape, but you still have a ballroom.
Yeah.
And there's plenty to decorate at Patello for sure. But
Yeah.
the view is amazing. And then any out of town guests have a lot to do. And you have New York City really close. So it depends on your guests too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so you have some people who go a little bit more country. And it depends on, again, it's your couple and the vibe you want everybody to feel that day.
Yeah.
What are some common misconceptions that you hear about, like, whether it's florists or just like floral designs for weddings, or just all of that, like that process of hiring?
The biggest misconception is probably that flowers grow from the ground so they can't be expensive. That is probably number one. Like, well, it just grows. But they don't just grow. You know, there's farms and workers and processing
Yeah.
and shipping, and there's a lot
Yeah.
that goes into it. Even I helped a grower friend of mine once. Once I helped her dig up dahlia tubers and label and process and store. And I looked at her and I was like, I love you and I will buy your dahlias from you, but I will never do this again. It is hard work. It is
Yeah,
hard,
it is a lot of
back-breaking
labor.
work
Oh my
to be a
God.
grower. And before that flower comes to you, it goes through a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know, running out if there's a late frost and tarping every single row so that they don't get hit with the frost, and you pray that they make it. There's a lot
Yeah.
that goes into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll never be a grower. I can tell you that. Like on my garden level, that's fine.
Yeah.
If something doesn't make it, I'm sad, but it didn't just cost me my business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That can be a stressful like industry because, like you're saying, there's so many external factors at play. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but like if you have flooding, I'm sure that's not good.
flooding, your greenhouse
Yeah.
fan broke, your cooler broke overnight. What, you know, there's so many variables that can happen. So yeah, I would never be a grower. And I do think that's the biggest misconception is flowers grow so they, and that we play with flowers all day. That's the other one. And we do play with flowers. That's not a total lie, but it's a lot of hard work and lugging too. And
Yeah.
a lot of vases get heavy and structures are heavy and you're bringing a drill and you never know.
Yeah.
Anything can happen on wedding day.
Yeah.
I've designed in the pouring rain. Yeah, you just never know. You know, if somebody knocks over a vase and you don't have an extra one with you, is there time to run back and get another one? So there's a lot that happens.
Yeah. They're also paying for like your creative eye too, because what you do is like so creative, and there's a lot that like thought that goes into it. So that's also part of like
There's
the
so much, the
expense.
ordering
Yeah.
and figuring out the numbers, pulling hard goods, cleaning candles,
Yeah.
chimneys. The things that go over taper candles are the bane of my existence. Cleaning those things. I hand that job off a lot. I do. I'm like, here, I love you. I cleaned one. We need 130. So, yeah, there's a lot of the background stuff that people don't see.
Also, they explode sometimes, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Things happen, you know, or you know, your drunk Uncle Charlie tips into the table and some things go down. I had a server recently I was still there. I'm so happy I was still there. Although you can burn your fingernails. I didn't know that until this moment. But a server threw a napkin onto a table so she wouldn't forget to add a place setting. And I had already lit the candles, and she happened to throw that napkin right on top of a candle. And I was standing there talking to another vendor. And then we were both like, what is that? And we turned, and there was a napkin engulfed in flames. And I grabbed it and patted it out on itself, but it melted to my finger. And oh yeah, it was fun. It hurt so bad.
Yeah.
It burned my fingernail. So my fingernail was like charred, and it hurt really bad. But I saved the table. The table was saved. There was just one casualty, that poor napkin.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There's fun stories along the way of things that have happened. Yeah.
Weddings sound so stressful. Like, I just can't even imagine all for like one day, like the amount of stress and the amount of people that like are involved in it. It's
a lot of moving parts. But if you choose well and your vendors know each other and know what they're doing, you don't worry about anything. It's all taken care of.
Yeah.
It's a well-oiled machine. It's really quite beautiful, the symphony of people that make an event successful.
Yeah. I feel like also it's like when you're trying to, I guess, like make sure nothing goes wrong and impress, the couple, that's like a lot of pressure, like every time, like every weekend, there's like that like excitement building up, but I'm sure it's like also very stressful at the same time.
It can be. I worry about the weather more than anything. Outdoor ceremony, that was the rain. My bride really wanted to get married outside, and there was a storm coming. I was watching the radar. We thought it could go off. So it did. I just had to design in the rain for a little bit. And the clouds parted and the show went on. The sun came out and she ended up, it was absolutely beautiful.
Wow. That's awesome.
I was a little stressed. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to move the venue's arbor.
Yeah.
So that's why I was out there in the rain. But we made it happen. Wow. I kind of love the stress of a wedding. I think I thrive there. I feel like sometimes I procrastinate because I like that stress. There's my self-awareness is, I'm pretty sure that I do that sometimes on purpose. Not on wedding day. That's usually in the studio with designing, where I'm like, I'll make that. I'll get to it. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to tackle this now. And I think I say okay and all right 100 times a day. Or, I'll look at my team and I'm like, all right, okay, I'm going to do this now. So, because you get distracted. You get phone calls, or your insurance agent has a question. So sometimes there's that. But I think I do thrive in that stress.
Interesting. Yeah. It's good quality for that business for sure.
It is. It is. It's not for the weak. Because there's a lot of pressure to get it done. And if there's last minute changes, which happens a lot, you have to be able to roll with it.
Yeah.
The table style changed and you went from an oval to a round and you weren't expecting that. That can affect the look. So you have to be able to pivot quickly.
Yeah. Interesting. We have some rapid fire questions for you that we didn't send to you.
Oh, rapid fire. Okay. I'll try to be ready.
Okay. I'm not going to do that.
So do I have to rapid fire answers back? Because sometimes I
really.
I give drawn out answers sometimes.
You can give out drawn out answers, yeah.
What's one fun fact about flowers that people would be surprised to know?
Some of them do better in boiling water.
Really?
Just like some people.
Whoa.
What's your favorite wedding venue? I think you covered this one.
Yeah, I think we already covered that. I'm going to have to say the Ryland Inn.
Okay. If you had an extra 2 hours a day, what's a hobby that you would pick up?
Yoga. I already picked it up, but I would definitely get there every day if I had that time.
Is it pork roll or Taylor ham?
It is pork roll. That is 100%.
Yes, I think that's our first pork roll.
I'm from Central Jersey, which is also a real place. So that is pork roll, the pork roll capital of New Jersey. Yes, you're a corporal person?
Yeah.
I like you even more now.
I'm like in denial. I think everywhere I move, I'm still in North Jersey, but now I ended up in Bridgewater. I used to live in Livingston. I started going further west, and now I'm in Central Jersey, I guess.
Oh, are you a Taylor Ham person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that wherever he lives, anything south of him is South Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not how it
That
works.
is exactly what my husband says.
That's
He's
what people
from
from North
Bergen
Jersey
County.
say.
I'm like, everything is south of there.
Yeah.
He's like, yes. And no, I'm like, there's Central Jersey. And he's like, that's a fictitious place.
That's like, you want to piss off someone from Westchester, tell them they live in upstate New York, because that's what everyone from New Jersey says. Like anything that's not New York City is
it's
upstate New York. And then they'll tell you the same thing. Oh no, we're in southern downstate. We're in downstate New York. There's Western New York. There's upstate.
I was at an event recently in North Jersey, and I was giving a girl my phone number, and she was like, "Oh, 732, you're from South Jersey." And I'm like, no.
Right?
That's
You're
so
like,
offended.
no.
I'm like, I'm not from South Jersey. And then I didn't know, but I didn't know Red Bank. I thought Red Bank, anything the shore, like Red Bank's down, South Jersey. No, apparently that's Central. Someone told me that's Central.
Red Bank Central? See,
Yeah.
I would, and I'm consider myself a Central Jersey
Me
girl.
too, yeah.
I would consider, I would just call Red Bank, the beginning of the shore.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Like top shore.
Yeah. No, apparently it's Central. I was like, all right, well, more you know.
I think we're also like, everywhere else it's the beach, but New
Yeah.
Jersey, we have the shore.
Yeah.
So we're different in a lot of ways, I guess.
If you had a blank check to start a different business, what would you start?
Oh, that's a great question. I did want to start a mobile vet tech business
Ooh, okay.
long ago, me and my girlfriend, but then we had to hire a vet and it was like, oh, we got to pay this veterinarian to like watch us. So that's why we kind of didn't do that. But yeah, I thought 1-800 vet-text was a good idea. But I don't know that that's what I would do now. I don't know. That's a really good question. But I probably with something with animals. I do really like animals. Animals and
Yeah.
flowers. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's cool. Who's one person that inspires you the most?
In the flower world, my friend Francoise, she has taught me to look at things a little differently and things that you wouldn't necessarily consider in design and using it differently, cutting things up to create something new. So I make frankenflowers, I call them sometimes, and, stuff a rose inside of a calla lily. Or she definitely makes me play a little bit more. My kids. Everything I do is for them. So, yeah.
Nice. If you could pick up and move anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Oh, the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I would say Aruba, but it's gotten a little more crowded these days.
Okay.
So, but somewhere sunny and warm and nice all the time.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
I don't like New Jersey winters.
No, yeah. I don't either.
They're long and gray. It's
Yeah.
very gray.
Yeah, definitely. If you could only use one flower for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
That's also a good question. It's like if it was a vegetable, I'd say potato. They're very versatile. Flower I could use only for the rest of my life. Probably a dahlia.
Okay.
Because there's so many varieties of them.
Mm,
I would probably say dahlia.
okay. And lastly, what's your biggest goal for 2024?
Better boundaries.
There you go.
Maybe not answering emails at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just want to have a good time
Mm,
doing what I'm doing and surrounding myself with good people.
nice.
And maybe not answering emails at 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's definitely harder. Like when you work a job, you're like, well, I'm not getting paid any less if I don't answer this. But if you are owning a business, you might be getting paid less if you don't
Exactly.
answer the emails. So.
Exactly. You need to
Yeah.
be present. I think that's what most clients want. They just want to know they matter. They want you to respond in a timely manner and give them the attention they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we like to like kind of end on this note, but what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs? Just one tip or something that you wish you knew at 19 when you bought your business?
If you believe in yourself, you can make it happen. If
I love
just
that.
believe in you. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you believe in you, you can make it happen. You have to be willing to put in the work. Put in the work and believe in yourself, and you can do it.
Very nice. I love that. And then where can people find you? Like website, Instagram, like anything that you kind of use for people to get in touch with you?
I do get a lot of messages on Insta, but that's not preferred because sometimes I lose you.
Yeah.
So yeah, website inquiry. It's
Okay.
thehiddendaisy.com. Instagram, it's the Hidden Daisy Floral because somebody already took the Hidden Daisy on me. Yeah, so website's definitely the best course for me.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay.
Perfect.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about in particular?
I have a new kitten that I really love.
What color is it or what kind?
She's a tortoiseshell,
Oh,
short
that's
hair.
so
My kids say
cute.
she's ugly, but she kind of looks like like a lemur. Like she has big
Aw.
eyes and she's cute and I love her. And I know that's not related at all, but I really just love her.
I love when kittens are growing because they grow like so weird. They have like super long, skinny bodies.
Yes,
and, like,
she's
these
in her
big bubble
teenager
heads.
phase.
Oh my
Awkward
gosh,
teenager
she's
right
so
now.
cute.
And she's adorable. So I'll just add that. I love my new little kitten.
Oh,
She makes my days better.
Oh, that's nice.
And she does meander around the studio and she steals pipe cleaners. She comes in, we all get a kick out of it. She comes in, I have a vase full of pipe cleaners and she steals one at a time and leaves and comes back. And she has a secret stash of pipe cleaners somewhere. So
Same problem here. Not with pipe cleaners.
hair ties.
Hair ties.
Yep, they just disappear. If you put one down, it's gone within like 30 minutes. Can't find it. And I just moved, and when the movers came, they lifted up the couch, and there was about, no joke, like 200 hair ties under there.
I believe you.
Oh, okay. We joked it was her, my youngest cat's birthday, on Thursday or last week on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'm just gonna go on Amazon and order like 2,000 hair ties, and it's gonna blow her mind. She's gonna like not know what to do with all these hair ties.
Yeah, we're not really sure, but we're pretty sure that her life revolves around finding hair ties because she'll like
she spends all day just walking around like looking for hair ties.
and she goes to the spots where like she looks like she might be coming to play with you. Like sometimes I'm working over here and she comes jump on my lap, but then she wants to jump on the desk and she knows sometimes there's like a little hair tie on there, or like at nighttime when I get in bed she jumps on the bed and I think she's trying to play with me, but she's going to my nightstand and then she runs away.
See, animals and flowers bringing people joy. You talk about your pets and everybody gets happy.
Yeah. I feel like they're like us in a way because like growing up we would get presents for Christmas and our birthday and stuff and like have all these cool toys, but we used to play with like our mini hoop,
Yes.
like a cardboard box.
like
Yes.
so much, or like stuffed animals or something for so much time. And like we just like have all these nice toys. We would play with them for like a couple days and never use them. It's like the same thing. Like
Yeah,
we have
but-
that whole box of toys for them. It never gets touched.
No, they want hair ties
They want
and
hair ties.
chapsticks and anything that they can knock off a counter.
Or like a box of garbage to jump, like an old box. You want to jump in the box?
Oh,
or
I couldn't
something.
wrap Christmas presents this year. I had to lock myself away because I had cats diving into tissue paper and boxes. And I was like, okay, all right, enough. I'm never going to get this done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Sasha likes your packaging for the jewelry. Yeah.
She likes to chew on anything plastic. She just likes to like eat it, not like swallow it, but just like
My
chew
last
it.
cat did that. If you
Yeah,
had
she
an
does.
So
Amazon bag,
weird.
she'd walk in,
Yeah.
usually in the middle of the night to wake you up.
Yeah.
Is that when Sasha does things? Middle of the
Of
night,
course,
starts
yeah.
chewing on plastic really loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cats are the best.
See, I agree. You should get another one.
I want a little orange tabby. I love orange cats.
Orange cats too, and they're
Really
always
cute.
nice.
Yeah.
It's very rare you meet a not nice orange cat.
Yeah, I didn't know, but the female orange cats are rare.
They are.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I guess most of them are men, but I don't know if it's like the genetics or something about it.
It's like calicos are always female.
yeah, it's cool.
We're in like sort of a decision phase because we were thinking about getting a dog and like for like Christmas kind
yeah.
of, and then my parents went away and we dog sat, and we realized like
It's
maybe
hard
it's
to
like
go
a little bit
away.
more work than well, that's just true too.
It's so hard to go away.
It would actually be easy for us, luckily, because they were my parents have told me like, if you guys ever want a dog, when you go away, you can just bring him over, which is like really awesome for us. But now we're trying to take a trip next year for like 9 months, and we want to like, we can't
Where
really
are you
bring a
going
dog.
for 9 months?
We want to do like a road trip across country, which is funny. Like,
That's amazing.
when you meet certain people, like sometimes like certain things stick with you, and I'll never forget like you telling me to travel. I don't remember what the conversation.
Oh, it
like,
was me. Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad I
remember
inspired that.
And a lot of people do say it. Like, it's not like
Get it
uncommon
done when
advice,
you
but I
can.
just remember you being like, you got to travel when you're young. And because also at the time, like, I was like literally working an extra job just so I could not only like get a couple extra bucks, but also like keep myself out of the city and spending money. And like, I had no expenses at the time. All I could think about was like how much money I could save. And I remember you telling me like, oh yeah, you got to do it when you're young. Like, because you don't know, like with
You don't
life,
know
what
where you're
happens.
going to end up. Yeah, life happens,
Yeah,
and,
like,
it
you wanna,
gets
like, do
harder
it
to go
before.
away.
Yeah, so you got to like prioritize it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's something we talked about like a little bit ago, that we wanted to do a road trip of some kind. And now like I do bookkeeping, she does a jewelry, and we do like social media together. And she's like pretty close to being able to like she does events still, but she has an employee that does a lot of them.
So you can leave.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
both work remotely right
We
now. So you can
could.
still have
We're pretty
income and
close.
travel. That's magic.
Yeah.
Make that happen.
Yeah. So that's where the pet situation comes into play. Like I think we do want another cat maybe, but I'm not really sure when. So yeah.
Oh, they're easy to leave. It's
Yeah.
a lot easier to have somebody come in and check in once in a while, as opposed to,
Yeah.
2 or 3 or 4 times a day. So
Yeah.
my advice would be to wait on the dog and travel first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what we're gonna do. Plus, there's
Yeah.
just so much work. Like, we do work from home, which is nice. We can be here, but just taking them out and like playing with, like, it's a lot. It's like
It would be
basically, like, a
even
little
harder.
kid.
Since you do both work from home, you tend to go out a lot more.
Yeah.
And then the first time you leave them, they aren't used to it. And it would
So true. They get like attached.
They get attached, so
Yeah.
you could have separation anxiety. You're better off just waiting and take the
Yeah.
trip. Definitely always take the trip. I will always say take the trip.
Yeah.
I would be not here right now
Yeah.
if my daughter wasn't in lacrosse, but they have practice for all of spring
Yeah.
break every day. So here I am, not in a tropical place like I should be. But that's
Yeah.
just proof,
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah. It's so
But get it
true.
done.
Yeah. I feel like-
Experiences. Spend your money on experiences. Yes, you need it to live,
yeah.
but what you do save and have extra experiences are worth so much more than stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the last 2 years, like, I mean, me personally, like, I've spent like so much money on taking trips and stuff. And at the time I was like, man, this is a lot of money, like booking the trip and stuff like that. But now looking back, I'm like, I don't even miss the money or think about the money. I just have all these great memories of all the places like I went. And I'm like, oh, I just want to keep doing that. But
I'm with you.
Sometimes it's nice to have money like in your savings account. I think, like for like when you want to buy a house or, your tire pops, something like that. But I'm like, you know what? At least I have those
Well, you have to
memories.
worry about the future. I'm not
Yeah.
saying, with
Yeah.
reckless
Yeah, there's
abandon.
balance.
It is balance. So,
Yeah.
but if you can make it happen, I feel like you can, especially when there aren't kids involved. I used to travel a lot more when I had a structured schedule.
Yeah.
And no children.
Yeah.
Even if it was just weekends away and checking out the East Coast or, going to Canada for a weekend. It's a little bit harder once there's tiny humans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. We were looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
That was
I was a little nervous. I'm curious to see how many times I said
I didn't notice any, so.
It really bothered me. I was like, Lori, keep your ums in check.
I feel like it ends up just being a conversation, and then you just kind
Yeah.
of like just talk normal and
Say a lot instead.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
cool.
I'm excited for you guys.